Well, I think that we're actually having trouble with David Shuster on the line, Congressman. So I'm going to continue talking here. But Congressman, one of the things that I mentioned earlier when I was talking was when I was introducing you was that you have a background in capitalism. Is that fair to say? You're a successful business person. You've opened up businesses in China, if I'm not mistaken, among other things, and had a very successful career as a lawyer. What message do you have to people who think that somehow there's a conflict between being a social democrat and believing that we need a strong social security and social insurance system in this country, and strong checks on the Wall Street banks, and strong regulation of all of our industries, but think that somehow that there's a conflict with that and free enterprise and entrepreneurship? What is your advice to the young entrepreneur who feels that liberal values conflict with his own?
Well, first of all, I am a successful businessman. I started a company that went public and dramatically reduced the cost of international calls for people here in the United States. And my company was the largest provider of international phone service to Hispanic Americans in the country. But in any case, what I find is that many of these so-called businessmen are, in fact, economic illiterates. We've known for 80 years, since Keynes wrote a book about it, that one of the primary functions of any national government is to make sure that aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. And the fundamental problem we've had, and by the way, I worked as an economist for 4 years, but you don't have to be an economist to understand this basic principle. The fundamental problem that we've had for the past 5 years in this country is that we have a $14 trillion economy with $13 trillion of aggregate demand, and the government's had to make up the difference. We need progressive taxation, because otherwise you end up with pools of capital that get larger and larger and literally spoil over time, draining aggregate demand. You need regulation, and as an investor, I benefit from this personally, and so does everybody else as an investor. You need regulation in the securities markets in order to see that people are not cheated. You obviously need banking regulation. This is something that's been understood since the Italian Renaissance. You need banking regulation because otherwise the bad money drives out the good, Gresham's law, and what you see is that the banks that end up teetering on the edge of insolvency and then finally going under are the ones that beat out the banks.
Congressman, we're going to have to, that's such a great point, that it's just basic good business and good business practice to want these regulations, but we're going to have to leave it right there. Congressman Alan Grayson, thank you so much for joining us on Take Action News. On behalf of the entire Take Action News team, thank you and have an excellent week. We're going to be tweeting out links to the Alan Grayson's initiatives to cancel the sequester and protect Social Security Medicare.